Diddy has denied all of it. In July 2024, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department said Sean Combs has never been considered a suspect in the Tupac Shakur homicide investigation. Diddy has never been charged. Davis has pleaded not guilty and remains in custody with his trial delayed. After Tupac's death, the danger didn't fade. According to people close to the situation, Diddy and his East Coast team were warned not to go to the West Coast. Still, Diddy pushed forward to promote Biggie's upcoming album. Biggie didn't want to go, but Sean talked him into doing all those things. Burroughs claimed in Sean Combs, The Reckoning.
They wasn't going out to no party, no clubs, and no hip-hop scene. They wasn't doing none of that, brother. But that one particular night they go out, and it was because of Puff and D-Rock. Clark Kent said that shit himself. I've been saying it for years, but everybody was saying, I'm capping. Nah. What do you call Clark Kent? Is he capping? He's a vice president of a record company. You understand what I'm saying? He was DJing for Big. Is he capping? All these people should smack themselves, brother. Because what happened is, when people hear the truth, they can't believe it. Why? They can't understand it. But it happened. We couldn't have done nothing because it was no we. It was no we out there. Big had a security, Paul Alford, Reggie Bullock. Puff had me and Kenny. We was down 6 to 8 other men. Do. And it's 23 people in the entourage. And none of them got no guns. You don't go Cali empty-handed. We couldn't have done nothing, man.
This is something that Gone Deal has also corroborated. He revealed that Clark Kent, who was close to Biggie and worked in the industry, admitted he questioned why Biggie was even going out that night. Biggie was supposed to be traveling, not partying. When Clark asked why they were going to the Peterson Museum, Biggie told him it was set up by Puffy and someone else. Gene says he didn't even know this until Clark said it publicly years later.
People still want to know about it. They should have had better security. I asked them before we gonna go out? Let's hire some more security. They refused to hire more security. They refused to hire more security. Kirk Burroughs said the same thing. They ain't have it in the budget. Not without Big, they don't have no budget. How about that?
What still hurts Gone the most is that he asked for more security before they went out. He says he pushed the issue and was told no. Puffy said there wasn't enough money.
My perceptions have changed slightly, gradually over time. Today I look at Diddy with through a different lens than I might have 10, 15 years ago. There were obviously some early red flags, but it's a complicated thing because we have to be very careful about falsely accusing people or even, making accusations based on nothing more than speculation. And we just haven't seen all the evidence. So I prefer to kind of withhold judgment on some things. I can tell you regarding Diddy back when Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls were murdered. He wasn't exactly cooperative. He didn't do what you would assume a friend or a manager, so to speak, would do. So from a law enforcement perspective, he was very unhelpful in an area where he ought to have been contributing towards getting some type of justice in those two murder cases. But as we found out in time, he was complicit in one of them, and which would make sense why maybe he didn't cooperate in the other, because the two were, they were just, we always understood that they were somehow interconnected. And so if you're going to cooperate or provide information on one and you're culpable in the other, one thing could lead to one thing could lead back to the next, and that's where I think he understood his own vulnerability.
Later in the docket series, former LAPD Detective Greg Kading said he believed Diddy made the investigation harder, not easier.
Coming in, he was friendly with Big. He saw Little Sean, people like that. They wanted him to come and do a record. That was what was set up at Quad. Biggie knowing Little Sean, they were all there, C's, all of them. It was just going to be a fun night at the studio. Pac showed up, he saw them looking down from the window. His new friends were there. An incident happened in the elevator. It might have been a scary thing, like just to send a message. Tupac standing his own ground, just didn't leave it at that. He ended up getting hit, getting shot. The elevator went up. Our people were shocked to see him in that state. He was shocked to see our people looking at him shocked. He thought that they knew something about it. He thought if he was in New York and he was with all the rappers from the East, they must have known what was going to happen. It had to be in the wind. And situations aren't laid out like that. And it was the furthest thing from the truth, but he held that to his heart. And then he went away. A few other things happened, got better, got repaired, went away, went to jail on the rape charge. Once that came down on him, it looked as if the East Coast must have been the worst thing and the worst place for him to have come to. And it looked as if friends that he had just turned their backs on him. Suge stepped in. Suge stepped in. And when Suge stepped in, he signed him. He signed him to a napkin at Clinton. And that letter that he sent through Wendy Day, she was definitely a person that was connected and a mediator between most everyone in the hip hop game and had been for a minute, legendary person. She delivered the letter to my office. It started with West Side Up. So it gave an indication of rumblings that we heard in the street with him being shined by Suge was definitely true. He's going to go west when he comes back, and he has an issue with us.
Witnesses said Biggie's shooter was a black man wearing a blue tuxedo with a bow tie. No one has ever been arrested or charged in the case. Decades later, both murders remain officially unsolved, and Diddy remains free of charges. That may change soon though, particularly because an increasing number of connections are now surfacing when it comes to Diddy's alleged involvement in Pax's murder. According to Kirk Burroughs, the tension was already there before Tupac ever walked into Quad Studios. Trust was thin, egos were high, and the industry was full of quiet rivalries. When Tupac was robbed and shot inside the building, Burroughs says the fallout hit fast and hard. From that point on, nothing between the camps was the same.
A woman by the name of Wendy Day, very important woman in the hip-hop world. I think she helped Baby and those guys with Cash Money label, setting that up. She's very influential and instrumental in a lot of success. When I started in the music business, I reached out to her. She had a company called Rap Coalition. She went back and helped rappers from a previous generation get their money straight, their royalties. With that being said, I was like, she's someone I want to know. In knowing her, I had the good fortune when she was dealing with Tupac during his crises on the East Coast. She went to visit him at Clinton. He wrote a letter, drafted it, so that she can bring it to me at the office so that I could know and be able to relate to Sean where we were with him. And the letter, if I remember, it said, West Side Up. And what we had heard was rumblings that Suge had came and signed him on a napkin to a contract, and he was going to go west, and all this stuff had happened to him on the East and made it look like people on the East, King or the biggest rappers on the East, or people that he knew, should have warned him or protected him against what had happened. And it just is not geographically laid out like that. And a lot of people caught some blame for things that they had nothing to do with. And he took offense, went west, and that started him as a mouthpiece against the East, all right, going at Biggie. And I think it's more than, that's one level of the beef. Then I think there's another level of things that were going on in the streets where things happened in the dividing line between East and West that caused a big rift that led to mouthpieces going at each other.
Burroughs says Tupac warned him that things were no longer just about music. The letter carried a cold message. Tupac believed it was now war with Puffy and Biggie. There was no confusion in his words, no room for misunderstanding. In Tupac's mind, what happened at Quad Studios changed everything.
I heard a comment you made about how when you would bring up Pac name around Diddy, he'll get mad.
Yes. He hated every bit of it. I remember one time, he was like, who did you grow up listening to? I'm like, Tupac. I ain't mentioned Biggie. That nigga ain't even talked to me for like 4 fucking days after that. Everything but Pac, like, you couldn't say Pac was anything better than Biggie. You can't put them in the same realm or nothing. It was all about Biggie. Nick, I ain't know no fucking, it was all a dream whole song. I knew a couple words, the first verse maybe, but he made us recite the whole fucking thing. I guess, I don't know. He made us recite that whole fucking thing. And I don't think that Biggie would have gave a if a nigga would have killed about reciting his whole shit. You dig? Like, cause I grew up listening to Biggie too, and I felt Pac different.
From Burroughs' perspective, that moment marked the true beginning of the feud spiraling out of control long before the violence that would later shock the world. On the other hand, Chopper believes Diddy was almost certainly behind Tupac's death, especially considering how much he hated the man.
Keith D situation, I think the real reason why they ain't gonna let Puffy out is because they trying to connect that Keith D situation with Puffy. That's what I really think it is. Because if it came down to some foolishness and all that, there are buku chumped up charges they couldn't prove. I don't think they got no evidence. I think they trying to keep him in there to lock in that Keith D. You hear me? That Keith D situation with Puff. I think that's the only reason why he's still in jail right now. They know Puff is not a dangerous person on the outside. They know if they let him out right now, he's gonna be on house arrest. He's gonna be a good boy. He around and do all church little videos and whatever. They know that already. That's not what they aiming for. They don't care about none of that. What they care about is they trying to connect Keith D with Biggie. I mean, with Tupac and Diddy. I'm telling you, that's what I feel. And I never thought I would have said that, but I'm an intelligent man, bruh. And ain't no other way they gonna keep you in there of, Diddy did this to me. Oh, Diddy did that to me. I'm suing him. Oh, we got enough evidence to. No, you don't. That's accusations. That's not factual, brother. You dig? So I feel like the actual factual thing that they really trying to aim for is the Keith D. That's the only thing that they can really lock him in with. All the rest of that shit gonna get chumped down when it come down to it. Diddy gonna plead, and that shit gonna be over with. But they gonna that rabbit in the hole is gonna be that Keith D situation. I'm telling, mark my words. Watch. That's why they ain't gonna let him out. They would have let Keith D out on that bail. Vegas got a little thing. They'll let you out on bail, but they got little restrictions of how you can get out. You dig? So they gonna make sure you can't get out of jail. Trust me. So that's the only way I see that. Because the feds play a different game.
I heard a comment you made about how when you bring up Pac's name around Diddy, he'll get mad. Yes. He hated every bit of it. I remember one time, he was like, who did you grow up listening to? I'm like, yup. I didn't mention Biggie. That, even talked to me for like 4 days after that. Everything with Pot, like you couldn't say Pot was anything better than a bigot. You can't put them in the same realm or nothing. It was all about Biggie. I didn't know it was all a dream.
We need people to put people out here that's doing shit like this. That's taking from people's families. That's beating women. That's drugging women. I ain't got a problem with it. Let's go to war. Bruh, first of all, they're gonna try to get his baby mama stories, they're gonna try to get 50 baby mama stories. They're gonna try to get girls that he probably dated, that he had problems and issues with and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna try to do the same thing they probably did to R. Kelly or Puff or whatever like that, and people tell their stories. You understand? But they trying to retaliate on what he did. Let him go ahead, bruh. Because I think he ready for it. You don't do this And you don't do the stuff that he did or sign on to the stuff that he did with Puff. Unless you got your in order. Don't throw no stone if you live in a glass house. Don't throw no stone if you live in a glass house. I believe 50 ready for it. If they come at him any kind of way. I heard that Diddy is trying to sue Netflix for $1 billion. Ain't nothing came up in court. That's just talk, bro. No paperwork has been put in and signed into that. They're gonna have to have a reason. If they were suing him and he had enough reason, why they didn't cease and desist the thing? Huh? If he had a leg to stand on, why they didn't cease and desist the documentary? That's just people talking. Headline news. Because had it been filed in court and they had a leg to stand on, they'd have been bringing that stuff down. Oh, we can't show it no more.
Diddy's hatred for Tupac felt so intense. Not competitive, not petty, personal. He says Diddy hated Tupac no matter how that sounds. And only later did he realize how deep that hate really was. Now the thing is, 50 is allegedly leaking all this footage to the likes of TMZ and other news aggregators. And if Gene Deal is to be believed, Diddy is definitely going to retaliate. Do you think we'll ever see Diddy convicted for Pac's murder? Let us know in the comments.